Hi, I'm Bowtie David. I wear a bow tie just about every day. Now some of you may say, well, that's just for fancy jobs. I'm a handyman. That's it. I'm not anything fancy. I don't go to an office to work. Bow ties are appropriate for everywhere. One of the biggest things that I find is that I need to get myself ready to go out and be the best that I can be. I want to make a meaningful difference in the world. And to do that, I need to feel good about myself. And wearing a bow tie is the way I do that. Just one of the many things that I do in my life to be the best that I can. So today, I'm going to answer the very common question, how do you tie a bow tie? So follow along. Everyone hopes to make a meaningful difference with their life. With external and internal distractions in every direction, it's easy to get sidetracked from the most noble intentions. I am Bowtie Dave. Join me as we learn to be the most that we can be. To start, I'm shooting this through the mirror. There is a mirror here. This is going to be the same way you're going to see it as you're looking at yourself in the mirror. So I'm trying to keep things straight left to right so you can kind of get an idea of where things are. There is a point in here where I'll say my right hand and my left hand do different things. So I'm going to try to keep that a little bit straight. Can be challenging, but we're going to work on it. So to begin with, there's a little bit of a concept about wearing a bow tie that you need to understand. There's a term called Spretzaturra, and Spretzaturra is a studied carelessness. And a studied carelessness means something that really looks good. It doesn't have to be uniform. We're relaxed about it. We feel good about it. And that's what it all boils down to when it comes to a bow tie. Now, this particular knot right here is probably about as straight as I can get it. I wanted a nice intro into the video. But when you come down to the end of a party, an event of some kind, what's the best thing about a bow tie? The bow tie looks good. It's unique. It stands out. But when you're done, if you're wearing a clip-on bow tie, you cannot end the party relaxed like this. And to me, people know, wow, he knows how to tie his bow tie. It's a stupid thing. I don't encourage doing that. But when you're relaxing afterwards, when you're driving home, this is what I will typically do simply because I'm comfortable now. Now, not so much comfortable as I really tie my bow tie. Okay, enough of me, enough about me. We're going to talk a little bit about the sizing on the tie first. This is very important. And on the back of every single bow tie, typically there's some way to size the bow tie. It might be a slide, it might be various types of clips. This one here, you can see actually has little notches here. Let me see if I can find it. Here's another one. This one here actually has numbers next to each one of these notches. Now, those numbers on there are supposed to be correlated to your neck size. I'm here to tell you right now, they don't. Don't get all hung up on making sure it's on your neck size because it just doesn't work out like that in my experience. My neck size, I think, is somewhere between a 16.5 and a 17. It used to be a 17.5. I lost a bit of weight and feel a lot better about it. I have been adjusting the sizes of my bow ties for 2 years now, trying to get them exactly right. Now, that's a little bit of a confusing statement because once you get your bow tie size set, it's set. You shouldn't have to do it anymore. But here's the key thing. So, first things first. You need to first know how to size the bow tie. Now, these little numbers right here, it has numbers. I own a lot of bow ties. I have never had one of these sets of numbers be correct to my neck size. I wear about a size 16 3/4, 16.5 to 17.5 shirt, and you can see here this one is adjusted at 15 1/4 inches. These numbers, you can ignore them first off the top. However, when you're sizing this, there are several methods to do this. This one here has a little bar that slips into a slot. like so. And you make sure it's pulled tight. Now, the way the bow tie gets tied, you can look at this, and you're going to want to fold it right about the widest part here. Get the widest part you can find. And you can adjust a little bit. Okay, so now, right here, and if I pull this back right here, this is where we're going to want to cross. Now, it's a fish shape here, right? Looks like the mouth of a fish up here. So you can see right about where the mouth is, that's where you're going to actually be tying your knot. And that becomes important, and you'll see why. When you're tying the bow tie, you're going to be doing some very basic stuff all the time. You're going to have the longer side on the right, coming down from the right, the shorter side coming down from the left. Now, at this point, normally I have my collar up, and I'll show you why here in a minute, because it's a little easier to adjust a little bit. Now, we talked about how when you tie a bow tie, that crease is going to be right there at the widest point. So right in there, this is where you want your knot to be. So right about in here, we're going to start our knot. We come over the front, and here's an important thing. We're about to come over the front. You want this to start right where that knot is going to rest. You're going to want to keep this thing as close to where the knot's going to rest as possible. And it might slip slightly, but the closer you can keep it there, the better. So you can see I barely have a little bit of white showing above that knot now, where the button is right in here. So that's about where I want the knot to be. So I'm going to come over here, holding that together. That is exactly where I want the knot to be. Okay, it might be a little bit off. We can adjust that much come here in a little bit. Now, looking at this knot, probably right about, and see, you can always flip your knot, this up and make sure you're in the right place. And I'm not quite in the right place. So when you're at this point right here, this is a key point. There's a couple of really key points, and this is one of them. As you're standing here, you're looking at how many fingers difference there is from the back side to the front side. Right now, there is little over a 3-finger difference. Now, ideally, you want about a 2.5-finger difference between this back side and this front side. So, I'm going to go in here and just adjust it right now a little bit, 1 notch, to get that size a little better. Now, something that does happen to my bow ties, especially when I'm out working and sweating, they do stretch. So sometimes they need a little bit of TLC. And we'll talk about that in another video. So once again, come in here. Not supposed to sit right about there. That's good. We're going to come up around the back. That's good. Get it right about where it's supposed to be. And of course, I'm on video, so it's not nearly as smooth. Yes, Murphy does work for me. So we're sitting here, and now you can see I have about 2.5 fingers worth of difference. I do this just about every day. Every day I do this. I stand here like this for about a 1/4 second, maybe less, I don't know, and see where I'm at. Now I know I'm ready to go. This knot is right at where I want. This and this are about 2.5 fingers difference in size, and I'm ready to tie the knot. 1/4 second tops. So now I'm ready to put my collar down and make sure everything looks good. First thing is going to happen. Now this part goes a little fast, so hang on. Set that long piece back out of the way. The short piece you want to fold right where we talked about. You need to find that widest spot. Okay, now this next part here, this is the other key point. And let me tell you something. I was learning how to tie a bow tie many, many years ago, and there was a 14-year-old kid doing a video, and he is the only one I've ever seen specifically show this next point, and it's very useful. When you're holding your bow tie like this, you pull both points forward and hold them together. Get your forefinger free, and you can come in behind here. You see that right there? My finger's sticking out right there ever so slightly. Now, I can take just the corner, and I want to go for that finger. Now, you'll recognize this knot as the same knot we use to tie our shoes. It's just a regular bow. There's nothing special. At this point, you may want to make sure this thing is straight. I've seen people straighten this out all the way flat like that. That's how I prefer it. I've also seen people have that folded in half at this point. That's not my preferred way, but frankly, you do you. It's good either way. You do your Spretzaturra, and you'll notice as I'm holding, I've got my fingers in the two loops. Okay? This right now, and again, this is a quarter second, half second, maybe a second at most. The right side here tightens the neck. The left side tightens the knot. And you can see as I pull the left side, whoop, that knot has tightened all the way down. If I wanted a smaller neck size, you can see, whoop, I can go real small with the neck size. I don't want to do that, obviously. You should really, when you're comfortable in your shirt, you should really be able to stick a couple of fingers in there easily. There should be a little bit of space. None of this choking stuff. You don't want to do that. Just don't even go there. So now I am very close. And see, I messed it up because I pulled it tight. I need to pull that loose just a little bit, get that straight. Okay. So now we have a tied bow tie. We have a nice tight knot. Both sides are fairly even. And you'll notice I actually have I'm about a quarter inch off on this side. Don't stress. Relax. You look good. That's all there is to it. I would like to pause a moment to extend special thanks to those of you that allow the YouTube ads to play during this video. Like the early days of TV, this is an ad-supported channel, and you provide the small amount of financial support we use to bring you more and better content. We appreciate the contribution of a few moments of your time. So let's go over that one more time. Again, we have another bow tie here, and every bow tie might be a little bit different. We have where this knot is going to rest. You kind of have to you'll be familiar with your bow ties, and if you wear them regularly, you'll be real familiar with them. But this, see the knot, the widest part here, if I fold it over, that's about where the knot's going to rest. So I come up here, first of all, go under, behind, and over. And I'm roughly 2.5 fingers different. Throw the long side out of the way. Oh, put your collar down, obviously. And here you go. Pull the two sides forward. Run your finger. And I actually like to get this side, this right side, in there first. It seems, for me, it seems to work a little better. Frankly, sometimes it goes either way with me. Right where, before you get it tightened, make sure your center is straight. And now that it's straight, and you can see the bottom, it still has a little bit of a fold right here. Don't sweat it, because by the time you tighten it, it's going to be pulled around, and it's not going to make a bit of difference. So we come back, tighten this, and occasionally you might have to adjust from left to right. You can grab that centerpiece. You can grab that centerpiece and pull it over a little bit and make sure this side is close to that side. But when you're done, you got a good bow tie. Let's do one more. Now this one here is a little bit different. Put the collar up. This one is a bit larger tie. Now this is a dressier tie. This is made of shiny silk. Now it's a little bit ruffled on the edge here. We're going to talk about how to care for some of your bow ties a little bit later. They do get worn, but that doesn't mean it's the end of this bow tie. There's things we can do to make that thing last. So when we go down here, you'll notice when I fold this, this is actually going to be a significantly longer bow tie than either of the first two that I did in this video. So, probably going to have to tighten down this neck quite a bit. Now, I don't wear this one very much. I don't know the last time I adjusted it, but I'm going to just make an assumption and adjust it down some. So, longer piece on the right, about where that knot's going to be resting. And I say about, and you can see here, 2.5 fingers between the short and the long. 2.5 fingers. So now I'm ready to put down the collar. Throw the long one behind you for just a second as we pull that up. And looky here, see? I pull the two wings together, reach my finger through there, stick it right through that hole. Just before I'm ready to tighten that knot. Now I got this one pretty well twisted up when I did the knot right there just now. So just we want to check that. And then adjusting, balancing as close as you can. But know that any imbalance, it just looks good because they know you're not wearing a clip-on tie. If you want perfection, go get a clip-on tie. This right here is the joy of knowing you did it yourself. You look good. You look sharp. You're ready to make a difference in the world. And there we go. If you're enjoying this video, please click the thumbs up and like button. While you're there, click subscribe as that helps others find our channel. Feel free to share this video on YouTube or other social media as well. You can even tell your friends you made it. I'll never tell. So there's one last bow tie I want to show you. This is a two-sided bow tie. This has two sides. What that means is you can wear this one of a few different ways. Now, this particular one I like. It's one of my favorite ones. Not my absolute favorite one. It is one of my favorite ones. And I want to show you a couple of ways you can do this. First off, when you do the bow tie, you can tie it to where the colors on the front are all the same. The colors in the middle are the different one. You can tie this to where the color down the middle is different, is the one on the inside, and the color on the outside is the opposite side. There's a couple different ways to do this. My favorite way on this particular tie is to tie it with the same color, and there's just a hint of that other side over there. So, put this thing on first of all. Start with the collar up. It's just a little bit easier. I find it's a little bit easier. Come around here, we can see where the fold is done. Now, I've already done it wrong. Okay, so one of the things I do here, this side is going to be the color of the middle. This side of that vertical piece. This side here is going to be the color of the inside of the bow. So what I do is I actually turn this around, right, like that. Because when this is folded, it's going to be the striped side, not the orange polka dot side. So, come around here, I fold this, figure out about where the knot is. Under, behind, and over. Now that's maybe a little bit short, but I just noticed I'm a little bit off up here. So now, there's 2.5 fingers. Step 1, throw it out of the way. Pull this. Step 2, tip it over. Step 3, bring that over. And you can see I have the same color on both sides. Step 4, find the rabbit hole right there. Step 5, bring that around and through. Now right now, it looks a little disorganized. Don't panic. It's kind of like moving a mouse on a computer. You just keep going to where you're supposed to be going until you get there, no matter what flickers and changes all over the screen. Change that center. And now I'm ready to tighten it down. The left hand tightens the knot. The right hand tightens the neck. And now we have a tied bow tie. One of the final things I like to cover on this video is the cost of bow ties. If you go into a fancy store and look at bow ties, you're going to see that bow ties can be very, very expensive. Well, they don't have to be. The bow ties that I actually go to work with and use as a handyman are very cheap ties. These are silk ties. They have all the same measurement, same resizing options. They're just as good. They're sewed just as good. In fact, some of these are better than my very expensive bow ties that I used to buy. How much did these cost me? About $6 a piece. There's less silk on them. There's less work on them. They should be cheaper. If you go to Amazon, you can find bow ties for around $3 to $6 a piece. And especially if you buy them in a bundle. I buy most of mine in bundles of 3 to 6 bow ties at a time. So this one here is one of my cheapest ones. $3 on Amazon with a few others. It looks just as good. So don't feel like you have to go spend a lot of money to have bow ties, to look good, to look this good. No, not really. I think it looks good on me. It's also the name of my business, so it works. How did I get the name bow tie? Years ago, a friend of mine, Kip, started calling me that. Thank you, Kip, because it stuck, and it has given me a whole new identity. There's the rabbit hole, and here we go. There is a place in God's plan for you. That means every one of you are precious in His eyes. Slow down, find peace, so you can hear the gentle whisper of God in your life. This is Bowtie Dave. Thank you for joining me today. May God bless you to make a meaningful difference in the world today. Bow ties are also safer than neckties. With a necktie, you've got a thing hanging down. You might get it caught in something. You might get it caught in the pencil sharpener. You might get it caught in a table saw. I can't do that, obviously. So this thing stays out of the way. The coolest thing about this bow tie thing for me is that I have never messed up a bow tie. In fact, I was wearing this bow tie one day when the whole airless paint sprayer I was operating kind of exploded in my face. The only thing that happened to it, if you look real close, you probably can't see it, but if you look real close, you might be able to see that there's a couple of spots on the tie that are barely noticeable. Because it's a work tie for a handyman, I still wear it.